Hi and welcome to Whisky Shared. You're watching my review of Morris Muscat barrels, Cellar Reserve. I'm Toby and you're watching Whisky Shared. Welcome to my review of Morris Muscat barrels, Cellar Reserve. This is an Australian single malt whisky from Morris of Rutherglen, and they're probably more famous for their winemaking. They've been doing so since 1859, but their whisky has been since 2016 using an Australian still dating back to the 1930s. This whisky came to me as part of my Somerton subscription, so it was $59.95, but this is an Australian distillery exclusive. It's 48% ABV, it's natural colour, non-chill filtered, and it's aged in their own Muscat wine barrels. Shall we find out what it tastes like? On to the whisky. So before I start nosing and tasting, let's have a quick look at the colour. I'd say that's like a deep copper. It really does get a lot of colour from the barrels. Let's start with the nose. Right, so it's rich with dates, figs, and there's the sweetness of like dark molasses. Definitely gives me like PX sherry vibes. I'm getting some cinnamon. There's some barrel char. There's definitely some fresh oak in there as well. There's a hint of acetone. There's some grape skins. I'm also getting some dark chocolate. I'm getting some cherries. Reminds me a little of Black Forest Gatto. There's definitely lots going on the nose, but I'm not picking up anything else right now. Let's move on to the palate. Yeah, well, it's definitely malty to start with. There's like rich dark stone fruits. I'm getting like prunes, I'm getting figs, I'm getting raisins. Definitely fruity and malty. It's definitely got a lot of influence from that Muscat wine. Let's have another sip. I'm getting some orange oil. There's definitely a citrus note in there. I'm also getting hints of cocoa, which yeah, is definitely more like sort of cocoa powder rather than chocolate on the palate. I'm also getting some cinnamon. There's definitely baking spices in there, and it's yeah, very rich along with that sort of fruity note that I was picking up already. Let's have one final sip. I'm starting to get like a slightly bitter nuttiness, definitely like walnuts or pecans. And there's definitely like a sort of thick and oily mouthfeel with this. It certainly is coating the palate. In terms of finish, I'd say it's medium long. There's definitely some bitter dry wood that lingers with this. There's some heat, and there's definitely that sort of grape tannins on the palate. That's like dry mouth feel. In terms of value, well, as I said, I got this as part of my Somerton subscription, so it's, you know, £60 pretty much in the UK. Obviously, it's not something you can go and buy. As far as I'm aware, this is an Australian exclusive, and having a quick look online, it's 148 Australian dollars. So that's easily 70 plus pounds. So yeah, it's definitely more value than you'd expect having to go and buy it yourself from Australia. Even if you could import it, there would be extra costs, but you know, even getting it on holiday there, it would be more than it was through the Somerton Club. But I don't think I've had much experience with Muscat. As far as I'm aware, it's a sort of dessert wine. It's probably why I was getting the sort of PX vibes on the palate, but it's definitely a rich fruity wine. It totally dominates the sort of flavour profile of this whiskey, and having, I think, maybe had one Morris before, only as a sample. I can't really remember what the distillery profile is of Morris, but it's not a bad whiskey. It's very tasty. I think if the wine is used to hide any of the faults, it's done incredibly well, because, you know, as a whiskey maker of less than 10 years, I think this is quite impressive. I don't know how old the liquid is in this, but it definitely doesn't taste young. I think the Muscat has done a really good job at rounding off any potential youthfulness that this might have. But price wise, I think the fact that this cost me £60 in the UK for a 48% 700ml, you know, wine finished whiskey, I think it's pretty good indeed. And the fact it definitely would cost you more than that in Australia, it's a winner. I think the Morris I tried as a sample wasn't expensive either. I think as a bottle, I think you can get that for around sort of £50 or less mark. So I think for an Australian whiskey that doesn't have the same presence as the likes of Starward, I don't think that's bad value indeed. But if this is an example of what Morris can do, you know, the fact that I've drunk a reasonable amount of this compared to the only samples I've had previously, I think they're doing some good things. I think they're definitely in the right direction. Their whiskey definitely has some great character, and it is packed with flavour. It's definitely a brand that I'm going to keep my eye on. I'll probably look out for another bottle of this soon. Not necessarily this one, you know, a different finish or maturation, but I definitely would. Yeah, I think I'd look for an ex-bourbon if they do one. Hopefully they do, and I can compare this properly with the sort of unadulterated spirit. If you've tried this, then let me know your thoughts in the comments as always. And if you haven't, but you've tried another Morris and you want to share that, or if you definitely want to share a particular Morris that you think I should buy, then let me know in the comments as well. Hopefully you found that interesting, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Sauncher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment? And please consider subscribing for more videos like this.